Embark on a captivating journey with me as I delve into the world of section hiking on the legendary Appalachian Trail. Join me as I share my personal insights, the reasons behind choosing this approach, and I'll give you all you need to know to get started on your own section hiking journey, with tips on where and how to start, planning, the resources available, one section at a time. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If we're just meeting, my name is Hill Tackler, and on this channel we talk about all things backpacking. The Appalachian Trail is one of the most iconic and well-traveled trails in the Northeast. It travels 2,190 miles through 14 states, with the southern terminus on Spring Mountain in Georgia and the northern terminus on Katahdin in Maine. It's estimated that 3 million people visit the AT every year, and about 3,000 people attempt to thru hike it each year. Like many of you, the constraints of work and other obligations make it impossible for a thru hike, so I section hike. In fact, section hiking the AT happened by accident, really. I was leading a lot of trips for a backpacking club, and as I planned trips with groups along this trail to do lots of great end-to-end hikes, before I knew it, I started logging lots of miles, and as of today, I've completed 5 states: New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Maryland, and I have less than 50 miles left in Pennsylvania to finish up this year. And this spring, I'll be heading down to Georgia to backpack that state in its entirety. I break section hiking down in a few ways. First, determining what section I want to do, where it's located, and what is the optimal weather to do that section. I think it's important to think this through because weather and the time of year can really have an effect on your gear and your hiking experience. Backpacking in early spring and fall means shorter days and cooler temps, which has an impact on how many miles you can get in due to less daylight. Not to mention having to carry extra layers and a warmer sleep system. And hiking in the heat and humidity can affect water sources as well as very buggy conditions or very muddy conditions. So things to consider. For this year, I knew I wanted to get down to Georgia and do the state, and the time of year to backpack there is limited for me. The summer months are extremely hot and humid, making it very challenging conditions to hike in during the day. So that narrowed it down for me, spring or fall, and I thought that spring would be my optimal time to do this trip because this is when all the thru hikers start making their way north and start the trail. This brings me to the next part of planning. What kind of experience are you looking for? Solitude can be hard to come by if you're hiking in the thru hiker bubble. So if you want more solitude, you should take that into consideration when planning what state you're doing and what time of year you're hiking it in. There's even a website to help you find where the thru hiker bubble is. It's called Where Are the Hikers? It shows a heat map estimating where the thru hiker bubble is at the time. For me, I knew I wanted the whole experience of being in the thru hiker mix, the community, the social experience, being among thru hikers, especially at the start of the trail and at the start of the thru hiking season, was exactly what I was looking for. Then there's the research on the section of the trail you'll be hiking, and it starts with trail guide and maps, internet resources such as the ATC website, White Blaze, which is a community forum about everything Appalachian Trail, and each state usually has their own website, and the Far Out app, of course. If you've never heard of Far Out, formerly known as Guthook, it's a full-service app that you can purchase digital maps, elevation profiles, waypoints, trailhead information, water sources, shelter and tent sites. You can buy the AT maps by state or the whole bundle. Basically, it's like having the 2-pound guidebook and map on your smartphone, and you don't need internet service to use it. I always bring paper maps as a backup. So now that you know when and where you're going, getting to the trail is another consideration. Figuring out traveling to and from the trail and the need for shuttles is usually the next thing to consider. When I'm driving to a section hike, if I'm going solo, I will park my car at the end point of the hike and get a shuttle to the start point. Or if you have to fly to section hike, you need to hire a shuttle to take you where you need to go. There's a lot of resources in the AT guidebook, which is really handy, gives you all the contact information, tells you where they're willing, how far they're willing to go, and the websites, and again, the Far Out app to contact shuttle drivers for rides. Another part of this research is the length of your trip. How long will your trip need to be, which is based on what type of terrain. If there's a lot of elevation gain, that will impact how much mileage you're able to get in each day. And depending on what type of experience you're seeking, you can go as slow or as fast as you would like. There's nothing wrong with having short days on the trail to enjoy a lake or a time in camp or just walk through the trail and take in all the sights. It's your adventure, or as they say, hike your own hike. Building the itinerary. For my upcoming section hike of Georgia, I had a max of 9 days since I knew I would have to fly into Georgia and then get a shuttle to the trailhead. I had to take that into consideration with my itinerary. I decided just to jump right on trail and just plan a short day on my travel day to the trail. This way I can get on trail, make it to a camp, and wake up the next morning and hit the trail and get going. Building your itinerary is based on a few things: knowing the camping regulations in the area the trail goes through, terrain, and your need for resupply. There are some areas of the AT that have camping restrictions, such as the Smokies, where there is no dispersed camping and you must stay at designated camp areas and shelter areas. There may also be sections that require bear canisters to camp. For my trip, I found through my research that there was a section from Jared's Gap to Neil's Gap that requires bear canisters from March 1st through June 1st. So overnight camping would not be an option there. So that's something I had to tweak my itinerary around for, making sure that I would either stop camping before that section or walk through it and camp on the other side. Hey everyone, Hill Tackler jumping in here real quick. If you're enjoying the content, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell, and smash the like button. It helps the channel grow. Let's jump back to it. Resupply. Replenishing food and supplies on the trail, depending on the length of your section hike, you may need to either mail yourself a package to a post office or hostel or other place close to the trail. The information on these options in different towns along the way on the Appalachian Trail are readily available in the guidebooks, the AT data book, and apps like Far Out, as well as White Blaze has lots of information about Resupply, as well as other YouTubers that have documented their travels on their channels. For my trip, I knew I didn't want to have to spend too much time or money getting to a town, and I can carry up to 6 days of food pretty comfortably. Not that I really want to, so I found that the resupply that worked best for me was to resupply at about mile 30, which is mountain crossings. Neil's Gap, you go right, literally walk right through it. So it just made sense. So I'm carrying the first 3 days of food and resupplying for the last 4, which is really perfect. I don't have to take any time to get off trail to resupply, and it really keeps the weight of my pack down, and that's really a bonus. Making the trip itinerary. It's a good idea to have itinerary worked out where you will be camping and about how many miles between campsites. While this is a loose itinerary, it may change based on quite a few things like delayed starts, weather. I think it's helpful to have an idea of how much mileage you'll need to average to complete your section of trail to get off trail in time, either if you have to get home for work commitments or catch a plane or you have somewhere to be. For my trips, depending on the terrain, I try not to have too many long mileage days in a row. As a section hiker, I'm in trail shape, but doing 16 miles for 3-4 days in a row is a recipe for injury for me. I may hike 2 long days and then throw in a shorter day in there to have some recovery. Having an exit plan for the unexpected, which sometimes happens, like bad weather systems that can come quickly and unexpectedly, illness or injury, it's a good idea to have numbers for shuttle drivers if you're far from home. Apps like Far Out are a great resource. Other hikers leave comments with the phone number, or you can take pictures of the AT data book pages for the sections you're doing, which has nearby trail towns, contact information for shuttle drivers and hostels. While there's fairly good service on the AT, I would recommend carrying a satellite device like the Garmin Mini or something comparable. These types of devices work off satellites, and it's possible for you to text people without having a cell signal. And additionally, if you get into real trouble, those devices have an SOS button in case you need emergency help, and the help will come looking for you once you hit that button. The last thing left to do is make your gear list and hit the trail. Drop in the comments below, what section of Appalachian Trail have you done or are planning to do this year or in the near future? And if you want to see some of my previous section hiking trips of the Pennsylvania Appalachian Trail, click up here. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you're enjoying the content, consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, smash that like button. It helps the channel grow. We'll see you on the next one.